Hello, everyone. In this video, we will explain and demonstrate how to add complex business logic to interface processing. With the SKYVVA workflow, you can define a complex condition that the business data must meet to execute the interface. Workflow plays an important role in controlling how inbound messages are processed in Salesforce. It allows you to filter incoming messages, connect them to the correct interface, execute the mapping, and post the data to the appropriate Salesforce sObject. For demonstration purposes, we will use Postman to send the request. However, please note that any client, such as the SKYVVA Agent, data loader, or other external systems, can send data to the inbound interface that contains a workflow. This demonstration will help you understand the default setup and how the workflow controls the inbound processing step by step. So, let's start. Create new metadata or use existing metadata. Click on the metadata name. Go to your repositories. Click on your repository's name. Find the Open Editor button and click on it. Choose a file type, JSON. Input your JSON payload. Enter a root name, then click on the Save button. After we create the message type successfully, go to the integration page. Create a new integration or an existing one. Click on your integration name.
Click on the Interface tab.
Click the New Interface button. Enter the interface name. Select Source Name Account. Operation, Upsert. Direction, Inbound. Select Status Deploy. Interface API version v3. Select the metadata provider name. Select the repository name. Select the message type name. Then click the Save button. Go to the Interface Detail page. Find the Open Mapping button. Do mapping from source field to target field. Do mapping root message type to root Salesforce. Then mapping field to field. When we choose the operation Upsert on the interface, we need to use the external ID. Check External ID, name for root account, and check External ID, last name for the root contact. Then click the Save Mapping button. Go to the Integration Detail page.
Click on Workflows tab.
Select the interface you just created. Under Interface Workflows setting, we have 3 setting modes. In this example, For the processing mode setting we choose by default screen, pass all messages to the next step. When to use it. Use this when you want to process every single record without exception and don't need to filter any data out. For the runtime behavior we choose by default screen, continue when an error occurred. When to use it. Use this when you want to ensure that successful records are always processed, even if some parts of the data have issues. For the action when all conditions not met we choose by default screen, update message status to pending. When to use it. If a message doesn't match any of your workflow conditions, the system shows message status to pending. Then, click the Save Settings button. Find the section iWorkflow condition. Create a condition. Click on New iWorkflow condition button. At the top, we have the Condition Builder section. Here, we define the rule that the inbound message must meet. First, select the field. In this example, we selected country. Next, choose the operator. We selected equals. You can click Insert function to add advanced logic. We use if null function for an example. Now, we define the condition formula. This formula means only process records where the country is Cambodia. If the country field is missing entirely, do not crash. Just treat it as no country and skip it. Click Test Formula to validate the condition. This means when the inbound message contains country equal to Cambodia, the condition will return true. If the value is different, the condition will return false. On the right side, you can see the status is active. This means the condition is enabled. Next, we move to the Target Interfaces section. This section defines where the message will go if the condition is true. Here, the target interface is Workflow. This means the message will continue processing in this interface. Sequence is set to 1. Sequence controls execution order if multiple targets exist. Operation type in this example we select Upsert operation. You can use other operation based on your requirement. Condition active is checked, so the condition is active. Check next is also checked. This means if there are multiple workflow conditions, the system will continue checking the next condition after this one. At the bottom, we have the test data section. Here, you can simulate the data before activating the workflow. The test data is automatically loaded based on the message type structure linked to the interface, including fields such as name, city, and country. In our example, the country value is Cambodia. Then click the Save button. This helps validate that your condition works correctly before moving to production. This means country equal to Cambodia, the condition will return true. If the value is different, the condition will return false. Click the test formula. The condition returns true. Final step, save the condition. Once everything is configured, click Save Conditions. This activates the workflow logic for the workflow interface. The result, when a record arrives, the SKYVVA workflow will check the country field. If it matches the value, Cambodia, the record will be executed to the target interface associated with this workflow condition and its settings. If it does not match, the workflow will not execute the target interface and will set the message status to pending by default or to another status, depending on your settings. Create another workflow. Example. Select your field. Choose the data point you want to check, like city. Set the operation. Use an operator like equals to match a specific value. Define the value. For example, setting it to PP means the system only looks for records from PP. This activates the workflow logic for the workflow interface. You can create multiple workflow conditions depending on your business requirements. Create a workflows on sub-interface. Select on sub-interface. Click on New iWorkflow condition button. The example. Select your field. Choose the data point you want to check, like first name. Set the operation. Use an operator like equals to match a specific value. Define the value. For example, setting it to Ratana means the system only looks for records from Ratana. This activates the workflow logic for the sub-interface. In SKYVVA, workflow condition features can be configured for both main interfaces and sub-interfaces based on your specific business requirements. Go to Postman to review the payload structure. We use integrate_v4_JSON as an example to import data into Salesforce. Here, the JSON payload includes two levels, account and contact, and both match the message type object structure. We have two accounts. One meets the workflow condition, and the other does not meet the workflow condition. Next, click the Send button. When SKYVVA returns a 200 OK, the inbound message is received and processed successfully. Go to Message Monitoring tab. Scroll down and then click the Apply Filter button to verify the message status. We have two message statuses. One meets the workflow condition, and the other does not meet the workflow condition. If the workflow condition is not met, the system will not execute the target interface, and the message status will be set to pending by default or to another status depending on your configuration. Click to view the record in Salesforce with the status complete. Under the Related tab, you can see the contact associated with this account. You have seen that business logic can be added using the workflow to control and manage inbound message processing. We have covered the basic configuration steps, including workflow creation, message filtering, interface linking, mapping execution, and posting data to Salesforce objects. By configuring the workflow correctly, you can ensure that inbound data is processed accurately, filtered properly, and stored in the correct Salesforce records. Thank you for watching, and I hope this video helps you clearly and confidently understand the basic inbound workflow configuration.